Toilet paper and bullets. Bullets and toilet paper. When shit gets real, when shit goes down, when shit starts popping off, you're going to be reaching for one of these, and you want to have enough on hand to get the job done. You really don't want to run out halfway through. So how much is enough? How much of ammunition should you keep on hand? I've seen many popular opinions that you should have 3,000 rounds of your caliber ammunition for each of your home defensive weapons, and that theoretically you should have a rifle and a pistol per capable shooter in your home. So that would be 6,000 rounds, even if it's just all the same for both of these anyway. Even if it's just all the same. That sounds like a lot. That sounds like a lot to me. Do you really need that much? That's a great question. That depends on your circumstance and what you're planning to do with all of that. These are dummy rounds. You might hear reports of so-and-so got arrested with 2 firearms and 300 rounds of ammunition. 300 sounds like a whole lot. This roll of toilet paper here has 429 sheets. And yeah, you can't really compare toilet paper to bullets, you think. But when you need toilet paper, do you only ever use one sheet at a time? No, you probably use several. With firearms, the typical self-defense shooting, and I'm talking about in a non-criminal context where you are defending yourself either at home or on the street, the typical self-defense shooting usually resolves itself in 5 rounds or less, a handful at the most. There are very rarely protracted gun battles in legitimate legal circumstances, criminality notwithstanding. So, do you really need more than 4 or 5 on hand? Well, like toilet paper, bullets are just cheaper to buy in bulk, frankly. And, in between practice events, I want to keep some around for my home defense. And do I need a whole heck of a lot? Am I going to be engaged in some kind of long standoff? I can't imagine a circumstance, at least in my boring life, where I would be. But having plenty around to go to the range with, to maybe enter a competitive shooting tournament with, it's just easier to buy it by the case, just like toilet paper. So when you have reports of, they were arrested with hundreds of rounds at their house, those numbers are presented in a way to alarm you, but it's really not all that unusual. And then if you are thinking long term, if you are thinking about preparing your home, preparing your community, preparing your neighbors to ride out bad times in an extended fashion, bad times where grocery stores, supply chains, that sort of stuff might break down, where you're going to need to start hunting and foraging for your own food, where lawlessness and the protections of our security forces may not be there for you, or may actually be turning against you for their own devices, then you might think more rounds may be appropriate. That's not a judgment for me to make. That's not a judgment for anyone else to make. But don't just go out and get as much of anything as you possibly can, because on one hand, you'll have it around and you may be able to trade and sell some of it off. And legality in your jurisdiction may vary. But like we remember with the great grocery store runs of toilet paper, if everybody goes out and buys as much as they possibly can of this all the time, the rest of us really aren't going to be able to get 1 or 2 rolls when we need it. And some of you may say, sucks to be you, too bad for you. But that's not really a defensive, community defense kind of mindset. So I'm trying to get away from that. Hoarding hurts everybody. Having some on hand, sure, that's not a problem. Also, if you get, say, a whole shipping container full of this parked in your backyard, not to say that these go bad, and I do mean bullets and toilet paper equally, not to say that they go bad, but unless you keep these in the proper condition, things like steel case ammunition, that steel casing may rust if you don't keep it in, humidity controlled environment. Your poor toilet paper may get mice into it, and vermin and rodents will shred this stuff up super fast. My day job, I go into a lot of basements and attics and other sort of utility storage areas where I've seen, not hordes, but I've seen stashes of this stuff just get destroyed by pests that the owners had no idea about. So you want to find some balance of utility and preparedness, some sort of thinking ahead, but not panicking about it, not doing panic buying, so that you don't drive up the price for other people. And another great example, let's say everyone went out and bought a whole bunch of all of this, and then drove demand way up, drove the price way up, and then your house flooded, and now suddenly you're out of it. Floodwaters go away, but all of this is useless, and maybe even all of this, and now you need to restock. Well, what are you going to do? The price is now doubled, tripled, quadrupled. The price of ammunition is still not down to what it was pre-pandemic, and may never be again. So anyway, I just wanted to put these thoughts in your head. I don't have a definitive answer, and I don't think anybody else has a definitive answer if you should have X amount per firearm in every caliber to just keep on hand. Because your situation is going to be different from my situation. If you are training and organizing your community, you're not just thinking of you and your family in your house. You may be thinking of your neighbors or your block, or your street, or your whole block, or your subdivision, where you or at least some select members have gotten together and said, okay, we're going to train and look out for each other and not just ourselves. So you'll regularly cycle through much more of this than just going to the range and shooting a box once a month. But don't be misled by big scary numbers people read to you, because if someone said, oh, I was arrested with 429 sheets of toilet paper, well, ain't that some shit. Hope you are safe and well fed out there wherever you are. I wish you mucho, mucho more, and good luck out there. Be in touch.